tricks of building high-performing cultures and high-performing innovation, long-lasting innovation, is to have people that care for each other. You have to care for each other, otherwise you're just not going to last the distance. It's not going to work. Where did I steal this from? I did a few courses on improv acting, and when improv actors jump on stage, they don't know, they have no script. Very similar to business. You don't know everyone, and often when they looked at me as the leader, the executive director of Family Planet, guys, you know everything right around what's going on. I look at them, I've got no idea where we're going. I know we're going baby that way, that's my mission, but the rest you're going to have to figure out with me, because I've got a big plan that looks a bit like Gus does not a plan. I know I don't like doing Gantt charts, and I like killing fairies, so I'm not doing Gantt charts, and that's how it works. I'll have to figure out together. So, you need to assume trust. It's not the other, back in the day, long careers, we used to build trust over the years, especially Anglo-Saxons. They tend to take ages to build trust, right? I'm Latin American, I trust everyone. Yeah, let's go. I love it. You're amazing. You have to go and have that, right? In business these days, on stage these days, if you jump on and you put a presentation together, you have to trust people. You can't just go slowly. I'll trust you in 20 years' time. I might shake your hand. No. Doesn't work. And they lose the trust. That's fine. You can lose it, and then you get fired. Totally acceptable. That happens. It also comes out. Not always a cover. But you have to assume trust. Make each other look good. You have to make each other look good. Take care of each other. And you can possible work. Right? I used to have people coming to me going, because Mary, the color writing is just a little card, it's all dirty, blah, blah. And I look at them and say, what are you doing about it? What do you mean? I'm coming to tell you. No, don't tell me. Quick. They're looking like go fix it and help them out and make sure they look good. They need to look good with the fellows and the whatever, and then when they come to me, they need to look the best. Because if they fail, you fail, I fail, we'll fail. Not a good idea. Go and help them, quick. Off you go. Make it look good. Accept all offer, that's a good one. On stage, you have to accept the offer. So if I throw a ball at you like this, you have to catch it. If I'm in a meeting and I say, hey, I reckon we should be doing this. What happens when you go, no, I think it's a shitty idea. Nah, it's no ball there, that's stupid, it's only air, mate, what are you talking about? Next time I'll offer again, and then by the third or fourth time, guess what? I won't offer anymore. And when we all stop offering, we stop innovating, we stop growing, we stop becoming high performance team. Simple as that. And you can't hold the stage, you can't just jump on. Okay, everybody. Okay, little simple rules. And this is a trick that I've learned about innovation over the years, and I want to tell you because I think it's important. I get companies all the time coming to me, and gosh, Google was the funniest one, because saying, we're starting to grow too big, and some parts of our company are losing out, we need creativity. And I argue this is my argument. My argument is that we all have creativity, and we all have tons of it. And although school does a very good job at kind of really stifling that bit, I think when we need to be creative, we are. And we have to be creative. I've seen very creative finance people, even though supposedly finance is not to be creative. I've seen very uncreative marketing people and very creative ones too. I've seen, but somehow we're meant to believe, right? Oh no, you left brain, no, you right brain, no, you go with math, but you're not good with this, and so on. And we get told, well, you work in marketing, so therefore you must be creative, or you work in finance, therefore you must not be creative, or you logistics, or no, you are project management people, you left brain people, and so on. Bullshit. We all create, highly creative, every single one of us. We all have to. There's no question about it. What we're not is all curious, all courageous, and all resilient. That's different. So these are qualities that you have to hire or develop in yourself or in your people to make sure you have a culture. Because that's the mother of innovation, right? Curiosity is what makes you go and dig around and look at problems and find out what's going on and why is this way, and I wonder if we can make this better. That's curiosity. Then you come up with the idea. And the first thing that we do, because we're not very used to innovation, is we fall in love with our ideas. Don't we? Worst thing you could ever do. Don't ever fall in love with your ideas. Bad move. Because most of the ideas you ever come up with are going to be shit. And it's okay. It's okay. Don't panic. It's all right. You come up with lots more. Innovation is a volume game. Lots of ideas will keep flowing and flowing and flowing. Don't fall in love with it. Have the courage to share them. To be told there is a shit idea. It's okay. And then the resilience to what? After they tell you that, because it hurts a bit. What do you need to do? Get up again and do it again. And do it again. And do it again. And do it again. That's the only way. This happens in both, actually. Startups and big, large corporations. You need to have enormous amounts of curiosity, courage, and resilience. Otherwise, you will not be innovative. As simple as that. Okay, we finish with it. A couple of quotes. Let me finish with a couple of quotes. It's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his understanding. This happens in big businesses all the time. I wish it said man, woman, you know, I wish this was easier, but interesting, huh? Why would the head of publishing that sells books understand ebooks? He has no interest in understanding ebooks because it all cannibalize his business that he's in charge of and his bonus system and his incentives and so on, so he won't understand. He won't understand. He won't engage in it. But this is more possible. I said somebody should do something about that, and then I realized I am somebody. So if you guys are here and you're part of the incubator in some way, shape, or form, believe it or not, you do have a real good shot at actually transforming shit. That's what happened at Lonely Planet. Lonely Planet changed from within. I'm not saying that they completely succeeded and whatever, but many others went out of business in the same time. Lonely Planet did. So a very good job at keeping stable through the support and help with lots and lots of people during that time. People that left Lonely Planet, people that were made redundant, lots of things happened in very difficult times and very successful times as well. But you have to realize that the only way it's going to happen is if somebody realizes that they are somebody, well, otherwise it won't happen. Top down is very difficult, very, very difficult. These things to take place. Okay, done. Ta-da. Thank you. Let's talk about the drawing and we'll talk about more.
Okay.
See you guys. Come on. Yeah, cool. No, thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Yep.
So, Kate will talk a bit about her project.
Yay! He's like a real fire.
I should preface. Oh, it's logged me out. I'll start talking while preface this, but I don't feel like I'm very innovative.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't feel like I'm very innovative, and I was a bit recalcitrant when Howard asked me to do this. The talk is the preface to what is being an LTIP project this year and building into another one that's just been funded for next year. Essentially, I inherited a course, a postgraduate college-wide research course that was delivered to everybody, online, face-to-face, design students, social science students. And it was written about 15 years ago, and it looked like the Lonely Planet website 15 years ago, and it still looked like that when I inherited it. Unsurprisingly, the online students weren't doing so well. One of the benefits of working at RMIT is that you can kind of do, like, there's a lot of rules about what you shouldn't do, but no one ever really regulates it. And when something was fair, exactly.
Did you recall that? You know, maybe company already. You succeed. You succeed. You succeed. Beautiful.
Damn. So sorry, Andrea.
No, carry on.
But also when something is, you know, performing so badly, I had the luxury of going, well, surely anything I do is going to see some level of improvement. So I had this safety net of going, okay, well, they're not offering me an online platform that's really going to work. I'll try something else, and it's going to be less terrible than our version of Blackboard. I still had to deliver it to face-to-face students, but it's easy to design a face-to-face course. You know, it's something that I was practiced with, familiar with, and there was lots of models that were happening around me. There wasn't many models of good online learning happening around me. I came in at about the same time that RMIT had adopted the suite of Google Apps, and they gave me something that the students had access to that was an improvement on Blackboard. Before I go through sort of what I did and then where it's going, is I want to talk about some of the assumptions I began with when thinking about this. So one of them was that people learn differently. Okay, so we still see it in both face-to-face and online learning that we get this very linear pedagogical approach to students. We give them readings as though they read things. Like, and I'm not being patronising, but people don't read 50-page documents that are loosely related to their course. Their course learning outcomes aren't aligned with their assessments. So students are busy. They've got 12 tabs open in their lives and on their devices. If yours isn't clearly relevant, why on earth would they read it? We don't. You know, I don't read the journals that I subscribe to. Why would I expect my students to? But also that they're not all text-based learners, and that we currently privilege that as though that is somehow better, but they live in a world where they're probably never going to need to produce long text. So my other assumption is that people are able to discern what is useful. When students think it's useful, they turn up. When people need to learn by practice, telling somebody something once in a lecture or in a reading, if it's something that's new, we can't expect them to retain that as one of their graduate capabilities. Students are different. They're not a homogenous group of people that all learn the same way and at the same pace and have the same skills and strengths. Another assumption I had about the teaching practice was that face-to-face teachers are able to sense how their students are learning and intuitively tailor their course to that. So I might give my teaching team, you know, this week's sort of curriculum and stuff, but if they've got a group that loves small groups, they can deliver it that way, or big groups or whatever. We don't have that sort of intuitive sense with our online students. Another assumption I had was that students don't necessarily know how they learn. Like, they know what they've always done to learn, and generally it's what they were taught in high school. Like, you know, learn this, bit of rote learning, there's some questions at the end of their chapter that they can do, they've got those memorised, great, can I perform an assessment day? But they're not actually aware or in tune with what helps them perform better or learn more. And another assumption I had was that students learn from each other. And so one of the problems with our version of Blackboard for online students was it's a very didactic model, that they can communicate upwards with me, but that lateral discussion with each other is almost impossible. So it was obviously not a surprise that one of the problems I had coming into this course was online students were faring worse than the face-to-face students in the same course. What I didn't know was why. You know, I had some hunches and there was obvious things to fix, but maybe the online students were actually just like they were busy, and maybe they were doing it online because they were overcommitted and therefore underperforming. You know, maybe it wasn't the model of delivery. One of the other problems I had was that we weren't diagnosing if the online students had a problem with the comprehension of material until they were undertaking a formal assessment. Whereas face-to-face students, we see in class each week when they tell us the wrong answer, that, oh, okay, we need to unpack this a little bit more. Now, we don't get with the online students, and often we put it back on the students for not asking questions, but if the student doesn't know they don't know it, why on earth would they ask a question? Because we all know students will ask us a question in class that they'll speak in class saying, thinking they've got the right answer, and often they don't. So it's not until we tell them, oh, actually it's this or that. So these are some of the assumptions I had, and they were the problems I also had. Now, there was a few things that I did in the delivery of the course. So I built it in Google Apps. I ran it as a communities, mostly because it kind of gave me, I don't think it's perfect, but it gave them a forum that was similar to what students are used to seeing in their real world. They want one-click log-on access. They want a screen that has a mobile app, and they want to be able to just sort of keep on top of things in one place, not open 5 tabs, download as a PDF, print it out and read it. Like, no, that's why they're not doing the readings. But at the same time, Google Communities is a bit of a mess. You know, there's a lot of shit on one page. And, you know, I had 90 students in the online delivery, you know, so they all start posting on the page, it gets a bit mad. The other thing that I needed to address was the fact that students don't, online courses aren't, you know, a 3-hour-a-week session, which is one of the other things, which means, so one of those assumptions that students learn through practice and reiteration of things, or they needed material scattered throughout their week to keep the content going relevant to them. So what I learned from the analytics, the Blackboard analytics from my course, was that my online students were logging in, they did their work on Sundays. You know, so they logged in on Sundays. So what I knew was to have something there for them fresh, because if they come in and it's not fresh, they're not going to stop logging in. They also logged in on Wednesdays, and that was after a lecture or video had been recorded. So I was posting materials like by the weekend so that they could log in on the weekend. And one of them was a test, and I'll talk you through that because that's what's coming into the analytics project. And the test was non-assessed based. So this was the way that I put in to be able to diagnose whether or not they were comprehending that week's course learning outcomes, that week's learning objectives, and way for them to know it, but in a way that was useful for them. And I'll show you how I did that in a sec. So they had the test, which was on their readings. Then they would have a week sort of like lecture or content, as well as an activity that came after that. I would also try and integrate, oh, I'm pressing that video.
Every button. Okay.
Being innovative. So this is just what the page looked like. I just took a screenshot of one where there wasn't any student posts for obvious privacy. But what I just want you to note here is that it doesn't just look like, here's a link to your readings, because that's not what people expect when they log into a feed. So I'd post things that were relevant to them that kept them engaged in informal ways. And part of this was working on my creating lateral discussion with each other. So creating that community. So the one in the top right, that week's topic was the introduction to quantitative analysis. Postgrad research course, but most of them haven't done much of it. So I found this study in one of my other social media, like a bit of psychopaths. And it was just a fun, easy way for them to sort of think about correlation is not causation. Then this one, an assessment was due this time. They've all been here. And it's a way to make it like not here's work, here's another assessment, and to create that genuine online community. The other links are to either that week's slides or the lecture. I put everything here. So even things that were on Blackboard, I would just put here so the students didn't need to go anywhere else. Everything was embedded here. There was a hyperlink here to everything, and there was a Google Drive with all of their documents. They had to go to Blackboard just to log in to submit through Turnitin. Now, the test that I was talking about, some of you will be familiar with this. Chris and France Chong in the business school developed TTM. That also got an LTIF last year. Task, test, monitor. Essentially, the way I've used it in this course, it's almost like a flipped classroom model, but it's a way for students. I designed a multiple choice test, not worth anything. So they can do it without having done the readings. If they just want to figure out which part of the readings is most critical to them, they can do the whole reading and then do the test. Really important that it's not assessed, so that they can just do it and figure out what they know or don't know without the pressure of having to perform. Now, so that's just what the home screen looks like. You see on the right, like there's each time they log in, there'll be a different little sort of study or learning habit or quote that gets them to start to think about their learning. Now, here's a PDF of one of the tests that they can do. If they like, they can look at the PDF before they actually do the online test, or they can just jump straight in, take test. It's online, kind of like a game. Now, the thing with this test is that all of the answers could be right. So when I design it, I can't just put in like, what you often see with multiple choice tests, there's ones that are obviously not right. What I wanted to know here was that, be able to test here was that students were actually able to distinguish something wrong. So admittedly, it takes a bit of time in developing the test. But once you've done it, then you've got it for each delivery of the course. Now, more importantly, the way they get feedback for the test. So I did the test before I took this screenshot, and I picked Bs for all of them. And as the law of statistics would indicate, I got 1 out of 5 right. It gives them feedback on their answers, irrespective of whether or not they got the answer correct. So the incorrect answers aren't simply, you got it wrong, try again. It tells them why they got it wrong, because that answer could have been right. So the student might have an idea of the concept that is being taught that week, but they're not really hitting the mark. So this will tell them why it's wrong. Now, what we've learned through the analytics of this was that some students will get 100% on the test and then take the test again. And they keep taking the test because they want to keep seeing the feedback for all of the wrong answers, just as a way of reinforcing their learning. We have got that information through focus groups, dare I admit. Now, so they can do these tests at any point, but what it was helping them to do was learn before the assessments whether or not they knew the information that was going to be assessed. Now, this is a sample of their weekly activity. So they would get some Google slides that had links to various things. So this is one of the slides from the week we were talking about discourse analysis, which for those that aren't involved, for many of you I know, is just a type of qualitative research analysis. So the theme for that week's materials was race relations. There are two hyperlinks with blue underlines. I didn't put it in. It's just what Google does. They go to two online texts where the students can then do the coding, the qualitative coding of it online and see each other's. Okay, so they're online and at home, but they still have the ability to do it. Now, one of the benefits of doing this is when they see that someone's doing it, they tend, well, it seems to me, I'm measuring it, they were more likely to do it themselves. So here's an excerpt from another one of the weekly activities when we're getting them to draft their own research questions. And as I imagine most of you are aware, you never get a research question right the first time, but when the research methods lecturer tells the student that you need to practice, it doesn't really have the same credibility as when they do it and then get the feedback and get it wrong. Now with this one, there was 90 students enrolled in the course, about 75 of them ended up doing this weekly activity, but it wasn't all done in the week that it was distributed, it sort of kept flowing throughout the course. What was happening was because this was a live document, they would pop it in, I'd give feedback, they'd get it back. All the other students were seeing the way that online face-to-face students would see in class when you ask me a question and I tell you why it's wrong. And that informal learning, that's what's happening here, because if I log into this sheet, of course I'm going to read everyone else's. You're probably sitting here reading it yourself. It's a not intentional form of learning, but it's still a form of learning the online students are always missing out on. So not only did it increase the likelihood of them participating in the task, which benefited them, but it gave them a better understanding of what was happening. So when you go through the sheet chronologically, you see that people's first attempt at developing a research question got better. So even though number 70 was their first attempt, they'd had the benefit of seeing the feedback that 69 other people have gotten that it's too broad, how are you going to operationalise this? And so having the live documents rather than just here's an email address for your tutor, which is how the course had previously been delivered online, was better for the student, but also much easier for me, because to give feedback on a better quality question is less time consuming. So what have I sort of gotten from this? Is that my aim of increasing their discussion with each other increased. It got to the point where they were doing informal peer feedback with each other. So they asked me to create a folder in their drive where they could all upload drafts of their assessments, and because it's in Google Docs, they could just all write comments on each other's work. If I uploaded the rubric, they would fill in each other's rubrics, and they got to know each other because the communities there's also the introductory task. They've got their face, they've spoken and made jokes about my bad jokes sort of throughout it. They informally knew each other. Obviously, not having a single platform. Theoretically, if you were involved in 4 online courses in one semester at RMIT, you could be using 4 different platforms. So it is terrible practice, which is why I'm reluctant to stand up here and talk about this being innovative, because I feel like we're in the Stone Age. Because we still had to get through those few weeks of then learning how to use the platform rather than learning the course materials. Most significantly, they caught up. Okay, so the online students, for the first time ever, outperformed the face-to-face students, but they didn't. They got the same. But both were getting sort of a mid-credit rank, whereas before they were at least a grade band below the face-to-face students. And you can never put it down to what it was, but whatever it was, it seemed to be working. That's it.
Eric, how are we going with time?
Well, we're supposed to finish up at
How long do we have?
4:30.
We can go to 5.
Yeah. we can
That's
go
the
to
room.
Who wants to stay until 5? I need to drive to Sydney tonight, so I'm not going any longer than 5, quarter past maybe. But I'm happy to chat a bit about these things. It's a really fascinating stuff. Who wants to stay till 5? Stay till 5? Yeah? Okay. That's the majority. All right. So let's talk about 5 minutes about this, and then we jump to the other one, might be a bit tighter on the others, but let's use 5 minutes on this. Okay. Can I ask a question quickly at the beginning? Blackboard, or whatever it was called, what was the purpose of that piece of software or that platform?
Well, Blackboard's a good case of what they say their goal is. Essentially, it's an online learning management system. It's a
To
repository.
learn what? To learn anything?
So if you're a lecturer and you're delivering a lecture or a talk to me, you would use Blackboard to deliver some of your course through online, something like a tool to help you. Right, so you can FTP /. So we imagine that the original purpose of Blackboard was the lecturer's problem, and it's find a way to do this, and then that's you want me to just go, right? So it's okay. The thing that I find really powerful about this is that it is and I think it's highly innovative in this sense, is that I think you're working on the underlying principles of how humans operate and how various platforms perhaps are useful or unuseful. Arguably, I would say to you, I think you're missing lots of other things that could have fixed. What if I gave you the challenge to teach all that, but hashtags only, right? And you know, how do you do that? How do you do hashtags on Facebook or all that kind of stuff? I think using current platforms that exist has the value and the power that you can hack into results very quickly, right? If you were to try to develop a brand new one and go to a developer and say, well, how can you start with brief, look at you, and now you're going to sort of lessons and whole thing. So their innovation these days is the lean startup model, it's great and whatever, it's kind of the quickest way to get results. I believe this focus. You always have to be able to look for become one of the learners here and you find forming your transit. Right here, these people that are around you, get them to also run course with you, do the course with you, and then you send a check for course and then you get this is already enormous amounts of data, just ending you can very much I think the other thing to say is don't do this because the temptation for me to once it starts working, you go, enough, I've done it, let's not pay it, this is the new way of doing it, use this instead of blah, and so arguably, I would say to you, no, you literally at the start will be the future of how you deliver your education. How to deliver education in the future will be however method you use.
That's what our next step is to give them their own data. So to give them their own analytics. Your aim was to get a distinction in this course and get your credit. Here's the week you got a distinction. How did you?
And I think second, I mean, the argument that I think is really powerful is that this is just as a CD. This is something that goes on the wheel, this one. The idea goes, the entire university and then how the university is doing this stuff. Go there, you can get students to go work for you, and tell you how you should do it, and this is the beauty of open classroom. It's like open classroom, is that new ideas are actually keep improving the things that you do. I think, yeah, the only fear that I have is that you I think get tired and you decide to go for one. We've done it now, and this is the way it's done. Next,
Keep it for 15 years.
and in a way, I'll argue that this is something to start. We have to keep going with this. Every time it's
Part of it has been student like. I've been doing it a few semesters to get their feedback about, I really like this, so you do more of that.
Well,
I like the short videos, more of that, like, you know,
there you go. See, that's not the focus group. That's what I mean. Well, I'm not against what I'm saying is that often, and you'll get much richer feedback by other watching or observing the way they operate, rather than actually going to ask the question. So that's the question what we hear.
what I won't tell you what they don't, like what I've found is they'll give feedback on what they do like. You know, so online person, I really like this.
I don't think it's doing so not everyone in the entire family, not everyone is just you.
Oh, I'm sure other people. So kind of because there's no prescribed platform for what people deliver what's online should use. People kind of use what suits them or what they don't. We're not experts on it.
He says there's suspects in this also to start going around. It's not good. Learning today is less than 15 minutes today. Whatever it takes to use the account, that's all learning. It's all includes this and that, this includes my adaptations to my mates as well as it's learning. Yeah. So there's going to be face-to-face coaches they have, and they're also the person that they have. So that's what I'm saying. He was the same as another player, like many companies with they distinguish between digital strategy and it's the strategy period. Think of the digital space right now. If they can call online student, they go learning by this platform. Sure. I don't think it's. I think we make it. We give it the part of the that was that experience was separate. That's really cool. Our parent, our well, that's yeah, quite across the This is the VR. This is the virtual reality. This is had to be Getting us to say what this guy said. You even notice he said a number of times, and he say such this might be try to turn that into a message. Every assumption you ever have is bad. What I should do is why is no question. So you don't want assumption. The policy is that the provider is once you put start wrong, it's another. So maybe you start making some things as well as assumption. But you don't really need to show you really see what you've done. And then you got something more than that. Whatever it is, this happens. Assumption like policies, special changes that was done. It's not exactly wow! Mind that.
Sorry, we're not going to plug it in, so. Alright, well, Frank and I have questions from two different positions. One from BE, sort of making you feel the same, and vocational competencies, two divides of running R&D. Used to know as TAFE, it's now known as VE, so they keep remerging with that every couple of years. I guess my focus is on application, not just research. Possibly get position. So if it's something I can't use with my students, I must immediately ask someone who's interested in me quickly. So this mind map section covers last year as well as what happened this year. So it's like it's red this year for me. And it was basically banging my head against the brick wall continuously. We were issued new staff laptops in January this year. And the staff laptop, from the top right from the down, it's nothing really more than Chrome, as far as I'm concerned. So I gave up on the hardware because basically I launched a IT cooperative with IT through the Oculus to this brand new unit in February. By March, they told me it couldn't actually leak. They had to wait for Oculus to bring out the new software. So that made that essentially a meaningless exercise. In the meantime, by November, we finally got an updated program, so it actually has talked to the computer, but I'm still hard to switch it off to actually get it to switch off. So the software and the hardware is a massive disconnect. I'll get to a conclusion in this in a moment. So anyway, basically, the Oculus is still an interesting experience, it's still an interesting space, which is still worth pursuing. However, we've sort of moved also into a Google Cardboard kind of area, which I think is a bit more available to students. There's a whole lot of stuff coming from Kickstarter which removes the need for actual clunky cardboard that sits like a phone case that pops out by lenses so you can actually view. It's much more simple than just doing some sort of cardboard blocks. But ultimately, what we start to look at is partially successful. So there's been a lot of failures, but again, the failures are sort of like we're looking at a sort of workflow. You can opt for a sort of building design architectural position, for instance, construction management, project management. So there is an alignment of what we're trying to get out of this project. So the two key authoring softwares that we generally use are SketchUp and Revit. Sort of a BIM product which allows you to design workflow right through, design right through construction, ideation and so on, documentation, drawings, and facilities management and so on. So it's the whole sort of complete package. SketchUp's a bit like a RoCAD or a drawing package, which just draws dumb but interesting point-metric solids. Both of these programs is software. It's the first two programs. It's a really new program for us. When we start looking at workflow, which actually brought in Iris VR, did that for a while. The games guys to have a go at it, using it. It's drag and drop, it's closed beta. It didn't work on my computer. It didn't work on the high-end games machine, but again, it's dead end. In a sort of conclusion to how this is working out, what's really happening now is we're certainly trying to sort of chase software companies and sort of like see what's the next best thing, what's the new shiny object over the horizon. And I think that's a mistake. I think there's actually stuff out there now that suits our purpose and can work. It's been running for over 20 years. And it plugs really into the author software, so it will actually generate for us stuff that goes straight into reference cardboard. We don't actually need to be looking for a middleware software solution. It just complicates the learning process for our students. So students, the build designers and architects, they don't want to become software engineers. They don't want to actually start learning additional programs on top of the programs they already learn. So from our point of view, the sort of start getting tools actually offered software, then it's simplifies the process. So there's a number of ways we can go back to witness. From my point of view, again, trying to get this software, get my students enthusiastic about this next year. They can use Revit already. They can use Revit to try out S360 and basically create Oculus Rift style or carbon style vendors that would be perfectly acceptable for them. My initial purpose of design was to work with this to get my students to actually design volumetrically better, so they can actually test their designs in a virtual 3D space. That was the intent. I think, as I said, it's really a frustrating year for me. It's not like it's been a bad outcome in the sense that at least now I know I can do next year.
Your gesticulation is telling us.
But I guess the key thing for me though is like I found out the other day, this is literally a couple of weeks ago, I can get Mental Render free for version 3.1, and up 2015. But 2015's been kicked off my machine and it's automatically updated in 2016. So I can't install the renders to test out the SketchUp. 3.2 works with Google, but it costs $95, and my IT guy said, no, you can't have it. So just like all my students, I'm now having to try and smash my way through through alternative means to test a program to see whether I was going to real.
Resourcefulness.
So there are programs out there. We are getting a copy of the training apparently, but again, this is just to give you an example of how it works in here. 100 licenses have been ordered for Building 100 for the Architects Department. We're trying and arguing for 5. And at this stage, it hasn't been confirmed we can even get 5 licenses for staff to test, but 100 being given to the architects space. So we are constantly sort of finding, I'm hearing from my education officer, that he attends meetings and there's all this sort of like dialogue about what's going to be tested out, and then we're sort of finding some tested out. It's frustrating, to be totally honest. But as the space we hold operate in sort of flies below the radar sometimes, and this is where it's going. Maps it up. As you can see here, the red space is limitations. But we try to look around those. This particular gives us a lot of that does actually mean that students still require smartphones. Not every student yet still has access to a smartphone. So it's surely because we're all Gen X, we're DOS, pre-DOS, that students are actually going to be as adept at as we are, it's not always the case just because they play with Facebook. I mean, it's not been lectures are very deep programs, so I think that sometimes we can get that to make sure that we address process from A to outcome. So there will be, I have got Oculus working on this computer now, but to turn it off, I'm actually just going to shut the machine down. So it's not quite there yet. The other problem with these things is that it also got the machines. The biggest issue was the Intel chipsets and the NVIDIA graphics card chipsets don't actually speak to each other simultaneously. So I can definitely learn on stuff, but just because of what's been going on with this here, it hasn't been working. So today I went off to Samsung and was testing it now, and it does work. So thank you for your time. There will be more with some lights and viewers and some shows 6 months from now. But my students will be probably not Oculus Rift, because again it's a individual's experience of trying to create collaborative spaces. So volumetry sort of internet stuff is really good, but you get much more benefit if you've got playing through games. So practice stuff that's used to say Unreal Engine or Unreal Toolkit, then you can have some create game space, actually have people walking through the buildings in sort of mass. That's a few years ago. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, just quickly, because I know we're all running out of time. Kick off today. So we started this whole project looking at models, looking at building information models, digital models, most things that I'm using.
You know what? Use the top camera. Grab me. Let me give you a couple of things before what I said. Those of you started in a funny way where you Google the Getty picture. And next time you present even to me or to anyone, make sure you use the Getty picture before you start your presentation. Getty picture. You're going to say, you know how blah, blah, blah. Well, what we did is blah, blah, and now they're right. It's a bit quicker to get to quickly for this because I'm still struggling through this through that. What was better? Perhaps there was assumption that these things were, but I didn't know, right? So when you present offers, be very careful, especially with innovation, because usually the moment you lose people on spot, the innovation becomes kind of really kind of loose, right? So be very conscious of that. So I heard at one point in time that you said we want our students to be better at designing monumental block, right? So if I catch that one correctly, that's a hypothesis you have. The hypothesis is that if I get my guys to use VR technology of any kind, carbon, blah, they will be better at that. So my first time as a startup as an investor, let's say if you were to come to money, I'll say, okay, have you tested and have you proven that actually is true? Irrespective of the computer, blah, 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 blah. You argue with me, yeah, because we actually did a really tight small test with a person that's never designed anything, put a camera on, don't design it, and it was actually 20 times better than that. We did that 10 times, and it worked. Therefore, we went ahead and started figuring out a way to do it because we've proven the hypothesis. Truth is, I don't know if you guys.
Well, there's a need there because students draw a plan that they actually get an understanding of the standardized.
Correct.
So
suppose it will help. I don't know if it does or not. Perhaps that will be one solution. The other is you drag it into a building
and
and
they play games and they use the standardized.
right. Okay, so you clear about that. For you, it will be the same. What is the problem you're trying to solve? That's supposed to learning. Where is this? They're far away from this. But they find it really well because they need chips that are right? The second thing, can you spell a credit card collective please? Seriously, innovation like I'm on the planet. I got to a point that I said, no, I'm being serious, guys. One thing is resources, right? I need 5 million for cash or whatever. Another thing is, I need a fucking, give me a computer for God's sake. Let me go and test this thing so it can work. Are you for real? I mean, seriously, is that an idea supposed to this machine that I think is rubbish? Seriously, tweet a hashtag, remember it sucks balls to doing this stuff. For real. It's embarrassing. No, it was. No, and I'm not blaming anyone here. I'm just blaming all of you for not actually going or hacking. Andrea, do it.
There are hardware issues with this, obviously, but we work around them. Yeah, as you said, failure is a learning experience.
Beautiful.
I have learned.
But it can't be a year of frustration rather than actually.
No, but the thing is, we're also going to realise that I did 22 hours last week, and all this research is done in my own time at night. So again, the paradigm shift between BE and HE is probably completely different. So we don't actually, if you speak to our bosses, we don't do research into it. We get them told to this constantly. This is nonsensical, but that's what we're told. We don't have the research in place.
Go on, right.
That's what we're told.
Sorry, I didn't want to bring this into some sort of politics. HEB divide.
Anyway,
Well done. No, awesome. All right. Sorry, next. Part two.
Yeah. Because we've been working on all of it together, and I ended up having similar struggle with this script. I stopped worrying about that because I actually saw all of these developments and said, this is going to work at some point. The question is, well, how do we get all of the content and so what we actually did, thinking about improving students' understanding using spherical videos. Our biggest problem when I look at our program in construction management is we don't do enough site visits. Construction site visits are important for students and they better understand how what they are learning in the classroom actually really is used on construction sites. Our biggest problems, however, are availability of sites. We can't always go onto a construction site whenever we want to. Safety concerns. Construction sites have a lot of hazards, and our people in the construction industry are concerned about our students actually walking around on that site. Skill cohort size and timing of site visits is another problem. So, for example, we've got unaligned expectations. We have our classes. We have 200 students in the first year because it's a common first year for multiple programs in our school. And then from year 2 to 4, we've got 100 students in the classroom. Our tutorial sites are about 45 students per tutorial. And we want to bring those out to the construction site. On the other hand, when I ask people in the industry, can we come to your site? I get responses like this. Yeah, sure, but maximum of 20 students. And so that is not going to help. So what we then do is we have small site visits with our students. We only bring a couple of our students into the classroom, onto the site. And we then, for all the others that missed out, we still use some of these examples that we've seen in the classroom. But we then actually show pictures of the site. Now, what the students don't get from these pictures, for example, is the relationship, the spatial relationship between this piece of structure needs to be placed over here. And that's somewhere in the context of, okay, you see the crane and so on. Yeah? You can't tell how these things really come together. So what we actually then looked into is, well, spherical videos. Yeah, there is a whole lot of development. You may have seen all of these Hero Pro cameras, and multiple Hero Pro cameras that all look into different directions. And it creates great outputs, but it takes time. It's really time and cost. So when we then saw, well, there are these new things coming out. It's a camera that catches everything around you. So my kids are saying, Daddy, this is difficult because I don't know where to stand and I don't want to be photographed. Yeah, they have nowhere to hide anymore. So in this whole context here for our little program that came out of that, the technology is not the innovation, but looking at how can we actually use the available tools and make them accessible to all of all the people that are interested. So staff are interested in actually using it. So the first time I actually gave that to one of my colleagues, he started walking around with that to test it, and he went around like this. Yeah. What's the problem with that? You're blocking the views. Yeah. So at some point, it's little things like that. You're learning how to use these. So you actually really need a selfie stick. You hold it as far away as possible from you, and that way you can actually still capture everything around you without blocking the view. Now I have a problem with that. I don't want to be in the picture all the time. Yeah. So I was trying other things like, okay, hold it in back, but you have no control over the camera anymore. Yeah, so you don't know what that looks like. Yeah. I then figured, okay, I need to actually better have control over that. So I was trying to walk around like this, saying, okay, that still works, until I come to a door, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't work anymore. So little things, that background knowledge, how do you hold the camera? Having this piece of string basically allowing you to hold it at the same height all the time, so that when you're walking up the stairs, it's a lot easier to actually keep it at the same level. Because what's happening afterwards is that you actually then share these videos. And when you share them in stuff like cardboard, the students will watch that video, and when the camera is too high, they will always feel as if they have to look down. Yeah? And so your camera location is really important. Yeah. So I've shared this with some of my staff members, some examples, and they are excited to actually use that for our construction management. For our construction management program. It would allow us to actually create more immersive site visits. So there are no more use cases. Remember the site visit from last semester? Oh no, you weren't there, sorry. We can actually know.
Did you manage to, because you know the first kind of hypothesis, I know I keep making a hypothesis, but I really need you guys into that thinking as well as you should be. The original hypothesis was that because you can't get everyone in there, they don't understand the relation between these things contextually. Did you prove that this little camera fixes that or not quite?
Give me another 6 months, sorry.
Okay, not yet.
No, we just really started with this.
To figure it out.
I'm one of those guys that ended up accepting the program manager position here. So all of a sudden,
No. But don't forget.
not really having that much time anymore.
No. But the lesson that I want to share with the group is this. Don't forget to have the thing that you want to pursue, right? Let's not just keep doing this with the camera just because now it's fun and you get the camera and then you forget, right? You start selling courses. The point is, you got to get the students. So, is this a way to fix that? Yes, no. No, throw it away. No. Yes, no, throw it away. That's the point. You fix the original problem that you think you want to fix. But otherwise, yes, it gets really clever, really cool, and eventually you can do video, but you can't do anything else. All right, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so just to show you an example, right? Again, big problem. I'm always in the picture, but you can actually change it. So you can now actually start looking around in the video. So, and this is on a computer, yeah, so it allows for students to actually interact with the computer. If you have a mobile phone, then you can use a QR code. Right now, you can actually try it yourself. You scan this QR code, right? You actually get another example video. And on your phone, you would then simply be able to move the phone around to change your view angle. Yeah. So for classroom groups and so on.
So that's what I'm saying again. These universities in general tend to be engines that create solutions in search of problems. I said it again, you come up with solutions that are looking for a problem. Startups normally find the problem first and then fix it. Yeah? So the typical example is 3M, right? The sticky thing that ended up with hospitals was a solution looking for a problem. When they first came up with a solution, this was thinking, I don't know what we're doing. Started trying to figure out what to use. When you've got lots of money and really deep pockets and really little time, you can come up with solutions in search of problems. You can find money and you can just think of that. Skype works like that. You're not sure what's going on. Index works like that. Right? But when you're in a resource scarce space, right, you want to make sure that the problem you're trying to fix is a valid problem to fix. You focus on the problem itself, not just coming up with broken things. Because eventually, oh, that's pretty cool. Cool for what? I don't know, maybe let's see, I don't think it's good stuff for that. But has that fixed what? Oh, you know, it is going to do the job. And so we really want your information with problems. Not saying that you have not to say
What I'm suggesting here is though that we actually pitch that we should be testing these things out on the library computers, which are the lowest level tech that every student has access to, and making sure that it goes at that level. Because my students basically bring their own machines with them to their classes. So there's a variety of quality of tech. The one common denominator is that they do come and use their machines, they're crunching out their and a lot of the students rely on the tier library machines as their baseline tech. So rather than testing it in games lab, we know it's going to work, or they've got a lot of processing power behind it. Go for the lowest level and get a copy of the library specs, and that if it works on that, then you need to go for scale, and that's where it's scale. Just what you don't get me wrong.
make sure you don't want to cluster.
It's really about that low level.
Having said that, a lot of people we did that once, and we ended up having to get every single for 250 people as well to upload the computers. Because we went for the lowest common denominator, and it didn't work, and then we had to say to everyone, okay, awesome, but we have to all upload.
You've got to find the failed thing.
Yeah, I think it's
So start low.
Yes.
That's the take that message from the branch.
And I need a credit card, thank you very much.
So that's point 4.
5 minutes for you for that, yay! You want to push about the next idea?
No, I did next idea.
Who is that?
Let's leave it again. Was that open?
Lee, do you want to, no, not do you want to. I want to have a coffee with you, I want to sit down, I want you to tell me about magic. Can we? I'm gonna have a good chat because I really want to hear about it. I'm back from Sydney this week, Thursday, Friday. We should catch up before Christmas. Can we? Be awesome. I'd love to hear because I've got lots of other friends in Nigeria. Okay. Some questions, any questions, any thoughts? Do you want me to cover? Yeah. Sorry, sir? Yeah. Me too. Yeah. No. Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to repeat the things. You have to make sure that you focus on your career, so you encourage resilience. You have to be resilient. It's not going to be any other way. It won't be against you. The force of the inertial momentum will be against you. Pardon? Yeah, good. Yeah, that's I know. And it's going to hurt. It's going to be a pain. And people that have fixed the problem in a certain way are not going to fix it any other way. But you are somebody, and you have to remember that unless you realize that, then things don't happen. And I guess in life you choose to either be on the edge and have a crack at things or just become part of the system and it's kind of be you. Well, it's not fair. I think I've never argued for people to define their success the way I define it, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to be on the edge and likes to shake up. That wakes me up in the morning and gets me excited. So if you're that kind of people, then you are part of an incubator and you spend your own personal time doing things, it's clearly because you give a shit, right? So if that's the case, then keep playing with it. You know, don't put your hands in it. I think none of these things are right or doing the right thing either. So I think it's why the guerrilla warfare works as well. Bottom up, everyone try, start sharing, see if you can get the momentum from the students. Arguably, no one, not even the whatever CEO, dean, I don't know what you call it, the people that talk to the university, no one could ever argue if the students are working, if the customer is happy and excited and pays, then you're succeeding. So the best ammunition you ever can have is to grab us and say, now said it. They love you. But also again, like I was saying, don't conquer it. Don't conquer it. You know what companies say to me? No, because we're not going to upgrade our SAP and now we're going to put it. And then what you have to go in and it's a different store. So don't get too caught up in it. This now, next thing next, and so on and so forth. And just keep rolling. As soon as you got the problem one and you keep fixing that, then you feel with the customer, right? Because whoever said that to you, clearly their problem, their KPI, their whatever it is to me. Well, IT, sure. No, perfect example. Often with IT, so when I was executive of the planet, the first thing I said to IT is your job is to make a movie. I don't give a shit what they do, whether you go whatever. Your job is not to keep costs down because their KPI was originally to keep costs down. So if your job is to keep costs down, that's my incentive. Guess what I'm gonna do? I want to use a new thing. I want to get it. Can I listen? Why don't we incentivize the gas? I'm not going to gas.
So what I see them goes wrong, that's not your job. Your job is to make it work, make it succeed. Talk about money, of course, not stupid, but it's always as much as needed, as little as possible. That was my budget to them. What budget my life guys as much as needed as you give me a problem. Yes, you have to know. As much as needed as possible. Make it succeed. Your job is to be made. That's your job. So you have to understand that's the decision. So stand on the side, say, I'm ready to say, God, but listen, your job and my job is to make that student really learn. Otherwise, why do we come to? So that's our job. Then you'll be able to figure out this is working. So at the end of the series, it's difficult, but I lost conversation and keep happening. It's frustrating, but it's not impossible. Okay, so here we go. No, well, you need to be really clear about your original hypothesis, or your hypothesis. That's what I'm saying to you. Be really careful to that's not lost, right? In other words, when I hear things like we playing with golf crystals are really fun, right? To me, it sounds like great, you are having a bit of fun, and it's good to kind of start a bit of momentum or culture, whatever, but it's not good for an incubator because it just means playing, right? When you say to me, we have a puzzle, our students have a real lack of understanding volumetric design, blah, blah, blah. Good one. So what are you thinking about that? Well, we came out from the EII2, we're doing visits, we're doing also 3D, we're doing 4 or 5 things, and the hypothesis is this one, we fix it this way. So we're going to go and test the hypothesis to see if it works. Then you go and test it, right? And if that one fails, you kill it. Next. Oh, that one looks like it's, and so on. But you test your hypothesis around whatever direction. That problem also will keep changing. Eventually, maybe in 10 years' time, volumetric design will be a problem. We're going to say we keep the ball. I don't know. So it doesn't happen. That's the problem is limits, right? You need to be really consciously involved and really diligent in testing the hypothesis you came up with. Right? So look at the assumptions that we talked about before. Where the assumption was hypothesis that almost got proven. The hypothesis was that these kids needed to be able to interact with each other because they don't have this. So we did this and we realized that they started to do that. It's working. Okay, it's not working. Kill that idea, put another one in place. Let's use Twitter instead. It's not working. Kill that. Does that make sense? So, how do you stop? What's that? Portfolio of incubation ideas, your return is going to be really low. The chances are they're going to fail. You have to set that targets. But what's the what's the factor? It's because they're having the accelerated certain parts of process to try to get something. So the job that you can learn once you challenge the challenge is what you try to do is the most valuable thing we have as entrepreneurs is time. The other thing, the only thing we can work with, we only work with time. Right? So what you try to do is ways kill the ready. If it doesn't die, then it has something for the future time. But they start already from the beginning, and it's two different things playing. One is the stuff we find very well, the project, the kind of features we develop, and probably how well we want that's the but the second and the current explaining the weapon there is actually not the idea itself. What the weapon really does is aggregates from these components. And VCs do is invest in people that are good, irrespective of the idea. Most of the things I went through about Combinator, years later, in fact months later, became something else. Because what they invested in was not the idea, it was actually the people. So that's actually one of the current things. You just try to get it. So in this particular scenario, I'll say yes. You've got various hypotheses around various things to do with learning without physical experience, as well as learning without physical interaction, to do with the organization that delivers what you learn. There is physical interaction with your mates, but not with the organization that delivers what you learn. Therefore, I have a hypothesis that they don't need interaction. I have a hypothesis that they need to be able to test themselves to see whether I prove my hypothesis. And then you try to test the trial if you can. You see the solution you can collapse is whether you're but how quickly you do that is kind of up to you. An accelerated program is specifically that because the university you don't have to give it this to accelerate such creates other systems, culture, market, brand, as well as the idiots. The accelerator is the nasty one. You can accelerate as well, but it is really the accelerator. Accelerate more than it's very big lot of VCs to not necessarily for this year. Unicorns don't come. Unicorns come later. I don't know if it makes sense. This makes sense. Yeah. You done right now.
Online version.